Using order of operations. Use the order of operations to evaluate each of the following expressions. Over on the right-hand side here, I've written down the acronym that we use for order of operations, PEMDAS. This is the order that we will use when we're calculating a computation. And it's important that we all use this same process because that way we'll get the same answer. If we do things in different orders, we might get a different answer. More importantly, this is the way that calculators and computers are programmed, so that if we type something into a calculator, we'll get the same answer even if we have a different calculator from our classmate. P is for parentheses, so we'll do anything that's in parentheses first. I've got two sets of parentheses in example A here. The first one we can see is sitting here. And then the second one is here. These things are grouped together underneath that square root. So those are the two items that I'm going to look at first. I'm going to do under the square root here, I've got 5 squared is 25, and 4 squared is 16. And that's going to give me a square root of 9. Looking at this second set of parentheses, I've got 5 minus 4, which is 1. Okay. Next, we're told to do exponents. So I've got 2 exponents here as well. I can see this exponent sitting here, but then also square root is a type of an exponent. Technically, it means taking something to the 1/2 power. So I'm going to look at those exponents next. The square root of 9 is 3. And then 1 squared is just going to give me 1. Next, I'll do any multiplication and division. I've got multiplication here, 7 times 1. So I'll have 3 plus 7. And then my final step is to add, and my answer is 10. For example B, I'm going to look at everything that's in that fraction to the right first before I consider that 1 that's kind of sitting off to the side. I'll start with, I don't have any parentheses, I don't have any exponents, so I'm going to start with multiplication. So 7 times 5 is 35, and 8 times 4 is 32. I'm going to leave everything else alone for the moment. Now I'm going to do the subtraction that's in the fraction there. I've got 1 plus 35 minus 32 gives me 3. 9 minus 6 gives me 3. So it looks like I've got 1 plus 1, or 2 overall. For example C, I technically have 2 sets of parentheses. This is an absolute value symbol, which means that our final answer should be positive, but that's acting as parentheses. So I want to look at the items that are inside the absolute values. And then I also want to look at the items that are underneath this radical symbol. So let's see, 1.8 minus 4.3. I'm grabbing a calculator here. I am getting a negative 2.5. And that's still in the absolute value symbols. And then under the radical, I've got 15 plus 10, which is 25. All right. The absolute value of negative 2.5 is positive 2.5. It means the distance from 0. And then I have a 0.4 times the square root of 25 is 5. Next, I'll do the multiplication, which is, let's see, 0.4 times 5 gives me 2. And then I'll add to get 4.5 as my final answer. Letter D. I've got a lot going on here. I think I'll look at the parentheses first. These are brackets, but they have the same hierarchy as parentheses. And then within that, I'm going to follow PEMDAS. So within the parentheses, I'm going to tackle those 2 exponents first. So let's see. I've got 5 times 3 squared, which is 9, minus 7 squared, which is 49. Leave those brackets there. Oops, I need a multiplication sign there. Staying within those brackets, I'm now going to do the multiplication first. So I'll have 5 times 9 first, which is 45. And then we'll do the subtraction, which is going to give us a negative 4. Okay. Now looking at this problem, I've got a multiplication over here, I've got multiplication here, but I've got this exponent that I want to deal with first. Let's move this up here. I'm going to leave all of these other items alone. 9 squared is 81. And now I'll do my multiplication. 1/2 times negative 4 is negative 2. And then 1/3 times 81 is 27. And then I'll add those two together to get 25. All right, example E. I've got parentheses and I've got brackets looking at this first term that I have. So I'm going to tackle this first and go to the inside. So after I look at these square brackets that are braces that I'm going to use, I'm going to now go into these parentheses here first before I do that exponent. So 3 minus 8 is a negative 5. And then negative 5 squared, because I'm going to stay inside those square brackets, negative 5 squared is positive 25. 25 minus 4 is 21. And then I'm going to do those parentheses over to the right. 21 minus 3 minus 8 is a negative 5. And then I've got minus, that changes to plus. So my final answer here is 26. We can use calculators to do a lot of these problems, and I encourage you to look at your calculator and make sure that you're getting the same answer. It's important that we practice using our calculators because when we have problems like this, we'll type in a lot of detail and we want to make sure that we're typing those in correctly. If you have questions, reach out.